For my next 5 reads, I'm going to be ranking them blindly. Have you seen this trend going around on like TikTok? Because I'm obsessed with watching them. I think it's so fun to watch people like blindly rank like characters or songs, or like have some like Taylor Swift albums done a lot. I thought, how can I do this with books? And that's how this vlog came to be. So I have 5 books that I have not picked yet. I will be mood reading my way through this vlog, which is kind of fun. It also means that I have no idea like what book I'm gonna pick next, so I can't like predetermine the ranking. Essentially, as I read, every time I finish a book, I will have to put it on the scale. It'll go into one of these slots, 1 to 5, and it cannot be moved after I put it there. So once my final decision for that book is made, if I put it in number 1 spot, it's in number 1 spot. Even if I read a book later on in the vlog that is so much better than that one. So theoretically, I could end up ranking my favorite book as last place, and that's very, very scary. And I'm really excited to see what's in store for me in this vlog and how well I do at blindly ranking them, but I will be starting with the Bonesmith by Nikki Powell-Pareto. This is a YA book, and we're following necromancers in it, which I think is kind of fun. I haven't had the best luck with necromancy books in the past, but I always think the premise of them is so intriguing that I'm excited, and I keep picking them up hoping that like one will be a win for me, because like the idea of like ghosts and bones and stuff is just like really interesting and kind of gives me thrills and chills. I don't really know much else about this book, so I guess we will figure it out together as I read through the book. I haven't updated you in a long time, but I am on page 247, so I'm probably about 60% into this book. This book is following our main character, who is a bonesmith, and in this world there are different types of smiths, which is really cool. The world building in this is really intricate, and I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. Essentially, we have bonesmiths who use bones and have like their magic can call out to bones, can move bones, but really what they do in this world is they give rights, because if you don't bury a person properly, they will come back and haunt the world. And so the bonesmiths go out and they give proper burial rites so that people can have their loved ones be peaceful. Or if there is a ghost that is haunting, because not everyone can afford proper burial rites, they will go and put that ghost down by finding its bones and then giving it a ritual, things like that. And I really thought that was really interesting. Our main character is training to be a Valkyrie, who is someone in this world who's being taught to be a warrior for the bonesmiths. Like, she does have the power of the bones, but she's taught how to wield them in order to defeat ghosts and keep the people safe who have to then find their bones, because ghosts get very reactive when you get close to their bones. There is some like really cool world building. There's also different type of smiths. They talk about ghost smiths, iron smiths, I think light smiths, sunsmiths as well is what they're called, and a few other ones. So like I'm really interested in the core magic system and how that works. But our main character essentially fails her trial to be a Valkyrie and is sent out to the real world, where she meets the prince, and then the prince gets kidnapped and she goes on a quest to save him with someone she never thought she'd be allied with. I don't know what to say about this book, because like when I'm reading it, when I have it open in front of me, I find it interesting and I'm flipping the pages and like I'm intrigued to figure out what happens. The second I close this book, like the very second I close this book, it's like out of sight, out of mind. Like I do not care about this book once it's closed. I think about it and I'm like, do I really need to know what's happening? Like, do I care what's happening in this book? So like I've thought about DNFing it so many times, but then I like pick it up and I read it and I'm like, well, like it's kind of interesting. I just think it's like lacking any like depth to it. The characters are very, very surface level, and like I just don't really care about them, but I care about the world building, and the plot is like fast paced enough that I'm like invested still. Like there's no point of me reading the book where I'm like, wow, nothing's happening, it's so slow and boring, because it's so fast paced that it keeps you turning the pages. So like I'm kind of struggling with this. Like I think it's like just very mid. Like honestly, that's like the best way to explain it. Like it's not bad, it's not good. That's how I'm feeling, at least so far. But the world building is really, really good in my opinion. So I was gonna buddy read this with like 5 people and half of them have dropped out. So we're just gonna keep on rolling. I'm done the Bonesmith. And I ended up liking the latter half a lot better than the first half. I don't know if it's just because I read it in one sitting, and as I said earlier, like when I was reading it I was really enjoying it. It was when I was putting it down that I wasn't. But the latter half, like I was excited to continue and I was excited to see it end. I felt like I kind of got a little bit more invested in the characters. They're still like very, very surface level. I will read the sequel. Like I plan on continuing this. I think it's only a duology, so maybe if it was a trilogy I wouldn't continue, but because it's just a duology, I'm like intrigued. The world building is so cool. Like the different types of magic in this are really cool. I liked what was happening between like the noble houses and how you became a noble house. I thought that was all really interesting. So there are some like really strong parts of this book. There are a lot of things I liked about it, but there's also a lot of things that just were meh. It's getting a 3. It's probably a 3.5 in my books because like it wasn't oh my god incredible, but it wasn't oh my god this is so boring either. So I don't know, I'm just like really struggling almost with my thoughts on it because it was a very much enjoyable meh book. Like a solid 3. Like it felt like a 3-star. There are a lot of things I could love more than this, and there's a lot of things that I could dislike a lot more than this. I guess I should say I didn't dislike anything about this book. If I had read this at like 15, I do think, hear me out, this reads a little bit like younger YA. Like typical things that I'm picking up now read like older YA. They cross between YA and new adult, so I'm thinking like the 16 to like 20-year-olds are reading. This, if I had picked this up at like 13, 14, 15, this would have been it. Like junior high, I would have devoured this. It kind of reminds me like similar style to like the House of Night series. Younger YA me would have been obsessed with this story. So I think it'll really hit for its like target demographic quite well. I also like that they weren't worried about talking about sex. They talk about like parenthood in this, and they talk about what makes a baby at one point. Not like describing how makes a baby, but like our character is very aware of how babies are made. And I liked that for a YA book. I felt like that was really like naturally talked about, and especially because romance is such a big part of YA stories because it's a big part of a lot of our lives at that point, that stage of our life, figuring out who we are, figuring out our romance preferences, figuring out just like our sexual preferences in general, who we are, if we like it, if we don't like it, things like that. Crushes being like such a big part of my junior high life. Having a natural discussion on those things in this book was really good in my opinion. So I did enjoy this in the end, which makes it kind of hard to rank. If I'm blindly ranking it, I kind of want to put it in 3 because as I said, there's a lot I could like more than this book, but there's also a lot I could dislike more than this book. So 3 feels kind of good because there's 2 and 2. However, if I'm putting this in 3, that means I'm only thinking that I will like 2 more of the books that I'm reading in this vlog more than this. And that kind of feels tragic. Like that feels like setting myself up for failure. Like I didn't love this. Like I enjoyed it, but like I want the rest of the vlog to be more than this. Like theoretically I would like this to be in 5th spot. Like everything else I read in this vlog I want to love. So I think for my own sanity and like being a dreamer instead of a realist, I think I'm gonna put this in 4th spot, hoping that that means there's gonna be 3 books in this vlog still that I'm going to utterly be obsessed with. Because like, I don't know, like this just is like, it's very meh. I didn't hate it, so it does not belong in 5th spot, but I didn't love it. I want to love books more than I liked this. So 4th spot for this one. I could regret this. I could really regret this. Like, should I be putting it in 3? Like, I don't like a lot of books. No, 4th. We're sticking with my guts. 4th spot for the Bonesmith. I'm 100 pages into The Family Experiment by John Marrs, and so far I'm really enjoying this, which is so good. This book, when I read the synopsis, had me so intrigued. It follows a reality TV show, so it's 11 contestants, 9 months to win the perfect child. We're following a world where population has been going way too crazy, and that has made cities being overcrowded and the economy just really rise, making it far too expensive for families to have kids. However, in the UK they come out with something called the virtual child, and they're kickstarting this new process with a reality TV show where 11 contestants, 5 couples and 1 is a single parent, have the chance to raise a virtual baby from being a baby to adulthood. They will be doing this in a 1-year span. Each month their baby will grow a ridiculous amount, and at the end of the competition, the family that the audience most liked and rooted for and votes for will get a bunch of money to either start their own family or to keep seeing their virtual child that they've now raised. It's intense. I've read John Marrs before. I read The Passengers by him, and it was a fast-paced action, just like so many twists and turns story, and The Family Experiment is no different. There are so many little like plot things. Pretty much every chapter ends in a cliffhanger, and it starts like the very first chapter. Like I texted Lexi after the first chapter and was already like, oh my god. It is told in mixed media, so it goes really quickly, and I really like seeing like the comments in the forums on like social media. I thought The Passengers was really good for its societal discussions, and this is doing the same thing, discussing like parenthood as a woman and as a man and things like that, and resentment in your relationship when one of you takes to parenthood faster than the other. There's a lot of interesting discussion discussions on top of like the crazy twists and turns that are happening because everyone is sus. All of these couples are here for a reason. They don't have money for a reason, and they're hiding secrets, and being on reality TV, your secrets cannot be hidden. So we're gonna watch them all like unfold, and so far I'm really liking it. My only complaint so far is John Marr's books all exist in the same world. So one of these characters is actually from The Passengers. This book doesn't spoil, you can see my lipstick on my hand. This book does not spoil The Passengers in any way, in my opinion. However, there is a character who's in The Passengers, so you know that there's a crossover there, and it refers to the Marriage Act quite a bit, as well as the like romance app. Both of those happen in other books in this world and are things that we established in those books. I don't feel like lost or confused. I think he explains them quite well. As far as I know, they're not spoiling those books, but I haven't read those books to like fully confirm. I have read The Passengers though. They just come up a lot, and I'm not sure if I just didn't notice it in The Passengers because I hadn't been aware that they were like crossover series, or if it's just more in this, but it sometimes feels like you're shoving your other books down my throat. However, they also all make sense because like a lot of them find love through this like dating app that was created in his other book, and it makes sense why, because of the whole like concept of the world. So like the information we're getting never feels like random. That's pretty much my only complaint so far. I'm gonna honestly read through this so quickly. It's reading so fast, and like I'm kind of like really unsure who to trust and who to like at this point. Like I don't know where to go. Like who am I rooting for? Who do I want to win a virtual baby? I don't know. Do I want anyone to win a virtual baby? I don't know. I just filmed a bunch of videos, but I still need more. This is the worst part about YouTube. The never-ending circle of needing more content ideas. I don't know if anyone realized, but I actually went down on vlogs. I've been putting a lot less pressure on myself this year. I have made it a goal to only do 2 vlogs. If a 3rd vlog happens, that's fine, but most months in my content calendar, I only have 2 vlogs scheduled out. However, from going from like 4 vlogs to 2 vlogs means I need a lot more sit-down videos, although in general I actually have cut my content down quite a bit. I was posting pretty much 3 times a week before, and I have gone down to 2. I've noticed actually a lot more growth and better views now that I've gone down to 2, which I thought was interesting. I think sometimes people get overwhelmed by the amount of content that there is on YouTube. Essentially what I have been doing for this year is 2 videos a week. If I film a 3rd, if a 3rd makes it, good, put it up, but no pressure on myself to film a 3rd. And I think I'm more excited about the content I'm making because I'm not throwing out filler videos, which means people are watching them. As I said, I feel like people aren't overwhelmed by the amount of content, so they're watching more in general just because like they're not picking and choosing as much. Like you still have to. There's too much booktube content to not pick and choose, but like you don't have to pick and choose as much between my own videos. It also means that I'm really struggling to find sit-down ideas, and almost all my sit-down ideas are fantasy romance based, and I feel like I'm just drowning you guys in fantasy romance content, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, I'm just obsessed with fantasy romance, so that's probably why. So yeah, if you have any sit-down ideas, let me know down below, or if you have any thoughts on any of this. I love having like discussions about things like this. I think learning about what people like and want from content and content creators is really interesting. How other content creators work and how their brain, like I spend a lot of time talking to my friends about content because I'm really passionate about it. But yeah, so I filmed 2 videos, 2 sit-down videos, my wrap-up and an audiobook recommendations for a romantasy book, which should both be out before this video. I still need more because I have like 3 video spots that need a video, and that's not going so well. But I did read a chunk of this yesterday. I am on page 244, so I'm just about 60% into this. I'm still really liking it, but it feels too long. It feels a little bit domestic. I'm like really stopping caring about what is exactly going on in these people's lives. I really care like the mystery that's happening. I'm intrigued by their like secrets, but not by like their daily life with their child. So it does feel a little long because there's still about 250 pages left, and I'm like, am I gonna have to read that for another 250 pages, or are we really gonna get to the action? That's really my only issue, but I'm still like really intrigued, and when I pick it up, like it's really hard to put down because like the chapters are so short. Like if you don't like 3-page chapters, like this is a 3-page chapter kind of thing, it makes sense. Like if when you're reading it, it makes sense. We're just seeing like a snippet of the reality show. I want to be more invested in this than I am, I think, even though I'm really intrigued. Now I'm gonna go edit videos because one of those videos I filmed is supposed to go up tomorrow, so I need to edit that ASAP. Completed. It's finished. I'm done reading The Family Experiment, and I have thoughts to tell you about it. I am unsure on this one. It has a wonderfully detailed discussion on AI and like what AI means for society and how it affects like the good and the bad of AI. Like it is a nuanced discussion that happens in this book, and it is deep and it was thought-provoking. So like I liked that aspect of it, but it is 430 pages and it did not need to be 430 pages. We are watching people put into situations and just see how they react. That's what this entire story is. And I kind of got bored of that. And not to mention the like main plot, the like main surprise at the end, I felt like it was very obvious from like the very start of this book. So I think it was too slow getting there for me. I was just like, it kept trying to like drag out the surprise, but I feel like I had known it. Not all of it. Like I won't say I predicted every little thing that happened at the end. I didn't. There was a lot of things that shocked me, but there's a character in this that I knew who he was and what he was doing very early on. Maybe not like fully who he was, but I knew what he was doing. And I just felt like that was dragged out too much for the sake of a longer story. I didn't need it to be this long. I feel like it could have been a little bit quicker, a little more fast-paced. Although I love a 3-page chapter normally, I think that this book could have been shorter with a little bit longer chapters. Like I don't want long chapters, but I do think that they could have been longer than like 3 pages because really they just existed to leave you at cliffhanger after cliffhanger after cliffhanger. And I just didn't care enough about the characters because they were so short. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this one. I think I'm gonna give it a 3-star. Like I enjoyed it, but it was too long. I would recommend it. Like I didn't hate it at any point, and I was like intrigued and I enjoyed the discussion. So yeah, a 3-star. We do need to put on the rating now, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think I fucked up. I really wish I had put Bonesmith in 3rd spot because I don't think this deserves last place, and I'm unsure what to do. Do I put this in 3rd or 5th? It's hard reading different genres in something like this too, because I naturally gravitate towards fantasy stories and like them not more, but like easier. And like fantasy tends to make me feel like, oh my god, obsessed, and I rarely feel that way in like a thriller. I mean, like I have before. It's not like unheard of, but it happens more often with fantasy, and I just like there's something natural about me liking fantasy easier than I like thrillers. I think that these are pretty much on par, Bonesmith and The Family Experiment. I don't know, did I like The Family Experiment more than The Bonesmith? In my head, I feel like I was more excited about the Bonesmith ending, so I want to say yes, but I think they liked this overall book better than The Bonesmith. Who knew that I would be having like such deep like existential crisis in a video that's just about me blind ranking things? And if I put this in last place, that's really scary because like I'm not known to like every book I read, and I've liked every book I've read in this vlog. I don't know what I'm reading next either, so like I can't even like cheat. Ugh, this is so hard. Why am I doing this? Okay, I could regret this. I think I'm gonna put this in 3rd spot. I just don't think it deserves last spot. Like I didn't hate it. I'm just worried that I'm gonna dislike something more than I disliked either of these 2 books. And I think I liked this better than The Bonesmith. I don't know. They're pretty on par with each other. 3rd spot it is. Let me go start another book. We have a visitor, and isn't he so cute? I picked up Porter today because we are heading to my cabin for dinner with my family. No noises back there. Quiet in the peanut gallery, please. My uncle's birthday is today, actually, and then my mom's birthday is in 2 days, and then Nick's birthday is in 3 days, and then my birthday's in like 2 weeks, and my cousin's birthday is the day after my birthday. So there's a lot of birthdays happening soon. Now that he's moved, I'll just turn this back. Oh, there's a glass over there. So I picked him up so that my sister can come here right after work, and then we can go together to my lake for the night. I don't know what we're having for dinner. The original plan was surf and turf, but I think that has changed because crab is far too expensive here. The reason I turned the camera on is because I picked up my next book for this vlog. I picked up Faebound, and I am kind of obsessed already. I'm only on like chapter 5, so I'm not far in at all. I think the magic and the world building is really cool so far. I liked that we had the human and the fae, and then we made the elves to kind of be like the better parts of both of them. I think it's really cool that we're seeing these 2 characters struggle with the politics and how they fit in society. I'm really liking it. My initial thought was that it gave me a little bit of Poppy War and She Who Became the Sun vibes, and now this probably could be just because those are both military fantasies that I love, and the start of this is very military fantasy setup. I don't think it's going to be a military fantasy as I go into it, but so far I'm very, very intrigued, and I think that this could be a win for me, and I'm so excited for that. I've never read from this author before, and I know she does have a backlist that has good reviews. If I do like this book, that has me just like so excited. I love finding a new author that I can like binge all their books for. So yeah, I'm very, very impressed with these first 5 chapters. I think the writing is really, really strong, and I'm invested in the characters already. Also the like sister. There's only two characters, and the one sister, and how like she sees prophecies in the blood of things. I'm really intrigued. I'm gonna tell you more about what this book is about, I think, a little bit later. Well, I could try right now. So far, we're following two siblings who are elves, and one of them gets exiled from the army for abandoning process. Like, she doesn't follow command and she decides to do something else. So she gets exiled and her sister goes with her as well. That's pretty much all that's happened so far. And I think that we're gonna see them go to like the Fae lands, which are rumored to be like deceased, but I'm assuming they're not deceased. And I'm excited to see all that happen. I'm gonna eat my cheese string now. I've been obsessed with eating cheese strings, but this one over here also likes them. I have not updated you in a while, but something happened. We got kittens. This one is Miley, and he's Theo. So it's been pure chaos, and it's really hard to get anything done when you have cute little 3-month-old kittens in your hands and vicinity, and all I've done, literally all I've done for the last 4 days is watch them. However, I did read a book. I actually finished Faebound. Literally, it's so hard to even talk to the camera because I'm just watching them be adorable. Okay, well, Faebound I ended up giving 3.5 stars. I didn't update you halfway through, and the thing is, I just started to feel incredibly mid about this book. Just keep thinking, is it me? Am I the problem? Because all of these books seem to be like kind of mediocre. Like, I feel like I'm into them, and then all of a sudden they've lost interest for me. For Faebound, just look at her, she walked by. For Faebound, I think what I really struggled with was the romance aspect of it. I really liked the world building. I thought what was happening was really interesting with the Fae, the elves, and the humans, and the prophecy around the 3 races, and that one of them was like stuck like in a prison essentially. I really, really liked all of that information. But what I struggled with was the 2 romances. Neither of them felt very well fleshed out. They felt very random. I didn't really buy into them. I wanted something else. Like, one was supposed to be enemies to lovers and one was friends to lovers. I definitely understood the friends to lovers a lot more, but it really felt very instant to me. The enemies to lovers, I feel like they were enemies and one day they weren't enemies, and I was like, where was the in-between moment? It was the romance that I struggled with, not anything else. Like, I truly think the world building was elite, amazing. I'm really excited for the next book. I truly was like, can I give this a 4, because like I am intrigued by where the story is going. I liked the setup, but with romance being a main aspect of this story, that fell so flat for me, and the romance kept the plot going. Like, you couldn't take the romance out of this story and still have like a decent story. So yeah, that's where I struggled with it. For my ranking, I do think I'm gonna put it in 2nd spot. I could put it in 1st because I did enjoy it, but I'm hoping that I like a book better than this. I also could put it in 5 because I don't think it was that much better than the other 2 that I've read, but I think it's gonna go in 2nd spot, and I'm really hoping the next book I absolutely love. I'm gonna pick up One Dark Window, and I'm sure I'm about to show you a bunch of cat clips because that's all I've been doing. They're freaking adorable. It makes filming harder because they're noisy. I don't know if you can hear them. They're playing with a toy fish. Thanks. See you soon. Good morning. Last time we talked, I was telling you I was going to start One Dark Window. That did not happen. I ended up starting A Crowned This Fierce and Deadly, which is the 4th and final book in the Kingdom of Lies series by Stasia Stark, which was one of my host favorites for Amazing Readathon this month, so it turned out pretty perfectly for me to decide to read it and get myself some extra cash for the readathon. I've been playing with the kittens. Like, what else do you do with your life? So I've been listening to the audiobook as I'm cleaning the basement because they're currently not allowed downstairs because it was very, very messy. I made it 50% into this book and I haven't updated you at all, so I needed to come on here and obviously like say something about the book. I'm liking this. I think it's gonna be a 3-star read for me. The first book in the series was definitely my favorite. I think it's the highlight of the like romantasy. The rest really fall into like YA fantasy to me. I think I miss like the banter, and in this one there's something that happens at the end of the 3rd book that we deal with at the start of the 4th book, and it's so anticlimactic for me for like having such a big cliffhanger to then have it resolved like this and to have like nothing really happen really just annoyed me and like set the tone of this book in not like my favorite spot. Like I didn't know how I was gonna come back from that. Ow! Ninja cat. She's biting my leg. She's got teeth and she likes to bite. And so like I'm still enjoying it. I'm still having fun with it. But I don't know if the stakes are here in this story for me. I feel like I'm missing those, and that's making me not love this series as a whole as much as I wanted to. I'm still like enjoying it. I think it's a fun time read. But this final installment I think is letting me down just a little bit. I've done so much since the last time I talked to you. It honestly kind of feels criminal that I haven't updated the vlog recently. I finished A Queen This Fierce and Deadly. I'm giving it a low 3 stars. It's my least favorite in the series. To be fair, it just started off on a wrong foot and I don't think it could ever make it up. It just made me feel like there was no consequences in this story, that everything felt too easy, that they didn't really have to go through that much because there were so many conveniences that happened. The lack of consequences in this final book just really irked me and I couldn't get past it. It just really grinded my gears and it just felt like everyone was gonna be coupled up, everyone was gonna be happy. It just was too clean. I like my books to get a little bit messier. I think real life is messy and I like when fantasy mirrors real life and we see struggles and stuff. I think it's very refreshing in the series to see a couple that their love is never questioned, that their issues are elsewhere and not each other. Like I never felt like there was an issue with them as the series went on. It was always a fight for survival in this world and this war that they had. The two love interests were never at each other's throats in the later books, which typically happens quite a bit. So I do think that's really refreshing and something I really enjoyed about this story. But overall, I think it was just too clean of an ending for me. I want it to be a little bit messier. I think a lot of people will love this series. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. It's just like a 3-star series overall for me. It's something I will recommend to a lot of people, but I was hoping that this last and final book would like put it over the edge to like an all-time favorite. But I did give the first book 4 stars. The second book 3 stars, the third book 3 stars, and the fourth book 3 stars. So the first book is my favorite. It had the most romance in it, the most like banter and fun times. The scale of this plot becomes more than just the romance definitely as we go on. That's my reading update. I also cleaned the entire basement, which really need to be done. I hate cleaning. I literally hate it, and so I live in a mess most of the time. I would just rather be doing so many other things, which is really, really bad, but like it's just who I am. But I cleaned the entire basement so the cats could come down here because I had to like kitten proof it. So now they are allowed down here. They've been down here since Saturday night and it's Monday morning. Well, I guess it's Monday afternoon now. Where's time? And Theo, the little boy cat, slept with me both nights, like the entire night, which is really nice. I love a good cuddly cat. Miley kind of visits everyone during the night, but Theo literally stayed with me both nights. Now, I can't decide if he's just scared to go upstairs once he comes downstairs by himself, but if I go upstairs, he will follow me back downstairs. So I'm not sure. I have told you I had a lot of updates. The other thing I've been really doing is working on my bullet journal. I finally have my Amazing Readathon spread figured out, which is really exciting. This thing is starting to like get chunky and I'm really excited how much I've been like following up with it. I have a lot of spreads to show you. Oh my god. So going into June, I knew I was doing 2 different challenges. So this is the Romantasy-a-thon spread that I have, and it has the prompt, and then as I fill it out, I'll put a little book cover next to it, which I'm excited for. This is just like a giant bingo board. And then the Every Romantasy challenge, which is like my little challenge, which has the little stamp and then the book cover will go there. And then these will be the micro tropes. I'm really excited for that. I did get a restock in of these sticker sheets. I'm really in love with them, so I hope more people get them. Like I am shocked how fast they sold out the first time, but I do have more stock of them for anyone who's interested in them. We have the tropes of the challenge, the bonus prompts of the challenge, and the micro tropes of the challenge in these little hearts. I had this in mind for reading journals when I made it, not only for this challenge, because obviously they work really well, as I just showed you, but I also like to put them in like my review spreads. I've used a few already. On the Veiled Kingdom spread that I did, there's a little enemies to lovers stamp just sitting there. And then I have a spread for the Stars and Shadows series. You can see a Forbidden Love one there. There's the Vampire Romance one there. And then On the Run and He Falls First are right in this little corner, these little hearts. And I think they work really well in your reading journal. So yeah, these are $6.50 Canadian on my Etsy shop, which is linked down below. I'm obsessed. They're so good in my opinion. Okay, back to showing you spreads. I got very carried away. Oh my god. I feel like a squirrel today. Like what? Okay, so this is my June little spread, my TBR. We're packing our bags because it's the Amazing Readathon and we're traveling. This is my books read. These are little stamp for it. And then the Amazing Readathon spread, which has little Polaroids. And as I complete a city, the book cover will go into the Polaroid. I'm waiting till I'm done a lot of them before I print out the Polaroid so I'm not just like wasting paper, because sticker paper is what I use and it's kind of expensive. Why am I so warm toned again? But yeah, like my Toronto book will go in here as I finish it. I'm very far behind still, but I thought this looked really good. I did order some more stickers online that are travel-ish, so I think I'm gonna cover the page in some more once they get here, but I really enjoyed the way this looked. That's it. I'm finally gonna read. Oh, I need to put this on the tier ranking list. I forget what kind of video I'm even in. Oh my god. Who am I? This one's easy. I'm putting this one in 5th spot. Acquaintance Fierce and Deadly is going in 5th spot. This is my least favorite book that I read so far. It let me down. I think it deserves 5th spot, which leads our last book to be number 1. And I'm really hoping I love it. Like, I need a win. Like, all these books have been mid. Like, they've all been 3-star books. I need at least a 4-star. Like, give me a 4-star, please. The light, it's lighting. So far, I'm 80 pages into One Dark Window, and I am loving it. People told me I was gonna like this book, but also some people told me they didn't like this book, that I trust their taste. So I was kind of hesitant. I was kind of scared. It's either gonna be a love or a hate. No in between. So far, I'm loving it, and that's exciting for me. I truly never knew what this book was about. I just like heard the hype, so like that didn't help with like me really knowing if I was gonna love it or not either. And I'm not sure the back of the book really explains what this is about. So far we're following our main character, Elspeth Spindle, who got sick with an infection when she was younger. Now in this world, if they make it through the infection, they end up getting magic. Magic is bad. Magic has a cost to it. So a lot of people with magic go insane, according to the king. And if you get this infection, you're sentenced to death in his prison. Of course, Elspeth got this infection, but her family kept it a secret and did not turn her in. She did survive, and there's no noticeable sign of magic on her, so she's been able to hide it all her life. But she does have magic. There is a voice inside her head. But of course, the wrong person stumbles across her at the wrong time, and now the prince and the captain of the guard and a few other people know her secret, and will they turn her into the king? I think that's what I would explain what just happened in the 80 pages as the synopsis of this book. Right now it's feeling more fantasy than romantasy, but I'm not mad at it, and like the banter that's already happened, like the few lines we've gotten, I'm like, yes, I like this. I also forgot how much I love the voice inside the head trope. When there's someone talking inside someone's head, I eat it up. I always love that voice. I think they're funny and like snarky most of the time, and a little bit mysterious, and the nightmare is really working for me. I have a package to open and adorable kittens all around me. Come here. Oh, she does not like to be held when she's in play mode. He is just sitting down here. Hi. What are you doing? But let's open my package. I don't know what this is at all. Oh. Overlays. Cadet Violet Soaring Gale. I know what this is. I was not expecting this yet. Oh my god, this overlay is so pretty. You can't see it. Like, look at that. Stunning. I know what this is now. Iron Flame. I love that it's like the library. It matches the first one so well. Oh, the end paper, the edge, the back. The first year is when some of us lose our lives. The second year is when the rest of us lose our humanity. This is honestly stunning. Oh, I don't know if I like that though. That makes me, I'm unsure. Here is the first one, and here's the second one. They are different toned. This is cool toned and this is warm toned, and that I'm unsure about. But I like the warm toned so much better than the cool toned. Here are their edges together and their spines together. Wait, is fourth... Oh, this is why I have problems with the bookish box. I think Fourth Wing might be a little bit taller. It is! It's like the tiniest millimeter, so it's like not a big deal. But I've had this issue with bookish box before and it drives me up a wall. What are you doing? That's my box. Thank you, I needed these. But the overlays are stunning. I'm gonna go play with them now. I'm curling in today and finishing this book. It is my only plan for the day. It must be done. I got a lot of pages left, so we'll see how well I do. But it's my only plan today. And kitty snuggles. Those are always required though. My bedroom lighting is absolutely atrocious. I'm pretty much halfway through this and I'm kind of obsessed. Like the magic system in this is so cool. I actually can't believe that it's taken me so long to read this. Why did no one tell me about this magic system? Essentially there's cards that contain magic. So magic is bad in this world and people get the magic through the infections, which I told you about earlier. But there is a way for people to get magic and not be infected, and they're through these providence cards, and there's a whole deck of providence cards and each card does something different. So there's something called like the scythe card, which gives you like control of people and will make people do what you tell them. Or there's the mirror card that makes you invisible. If you tap 3 times on the card, you get to use the magic until you tap 3 more times and the magic's cut off. However, the longer you use the card, the more you use the card, the more magic will take its price from you. So for example, with the mirror card, the more you use it, you start to see ghosts potentially. It kind of affects everyone a little bit different, but that's like one of the main side effects until you like lose your mind. That is just so fascinating, learning about all of the cards, because they're essentially trying to collect the cards to break this like curse on the land, and learning about all the cards as we get them is really interesting. I'm also obsessed with the love pairing. I don't think this is as romantic as it gets sold a lot of the times. I think the romantic readers love it. Me too. So that's why it's often sold as a romantic. However, it's a fantasy. Like purely romantic gets a bad name to it sometimes. I'm a romantic girly, so like fuck that. I feel like if you think strongly against romantic because you think it's all about the couple, pick this one up, because I mean, it's fantasy with romance. It really leans towards the fantasy and the plot, and the romance is happening naturally. It reminds me of like YA fantasy in that style, but I'm really liking this. I'm liking our side characters. I'm loving the voice in our head and how he speaks in riddles. I find him really intriguing. I'm interested to know more about that voice and who he was and what he means for our main character. I'm really invested in this one so far. I am literally just reading. But I'm eating my leftover breadsticks. We got Little Caesars last night because on Vampire Diaries they started talking about like the puffs, and I had to try those. So I tried the pepperoni puff and the Kraft Dinner puff. The Kraft Dinner puff was delicious. The pepperoni wasn't really my favorite. It was a little too salty. I think it needed like a dipping sauce or something. But the Kraft Dinner puff, I'm getting that all the time now. But I love crazy bread from Little Caesars. It's like I didn't get pizza. I literally just got crazy bread and I have leftovers, so I'm eating it because it was buy one, get one free. I'm struggling between 4 or 5 stars, and lately I've been thinking about it, and when I'm in between 2-star ratings, I'm thinking that I should just give it the higher rating, because I'm thinking that I could give this a 5 star, so why not give it the 5 stars? Like, why am I being so particular with my star rating sometimes? I think the problem with me in this book is I like to be utterly obsessed with my 5 stars. I can't say I was utterly obsessed with this book, however, I loved so much of it. I loved the world building, I loved the magic system, I loved the characters, I liked the romance, I loved the plot. The fact that I'm sitting here and there's nothing in this story that I want to complain about, like not a single thing, besides book 2, I think that means I have to give it 5 stars. Like, I truly enjoyed every aspect of this book. I'm not gonna, that scared me. It was a kitten. I'm just not gonna live and breathe and only exist within this book for the next how many days. But I also really want to see what goes down next. So like, I'm giving this 5 stars because I loved every part of it. Why am I so particular sometimes on things I'm giving 5 stars? This is why I have so little 5 stars at the end of the year. And sometimes that makes me feel like crap. Like, do I even like reading? Yes, I do. I'm just picky for no reason. So I'm giving One Dark Window 5 stars because like right now I'm so angry because I know book 2 does not follow this couple. And with the ending of this book, I'm just so confused how that is possible. I want more of the 2 of them, and I think that's also preventing me from giving it 5 stars because I'm like, well, this story doesn't feel over for the next book to be following 2 other characters more. But like, why am I basing my feelings on this book off of the sequel? Needless to say, this is a #1 spot. I mean, it was the only spot left, but like regardless, this was my favorite book of this video. Actually, I think I did pretty good blind ranking. I mean, it's hard because I gave so many books 3 stars and I felt so meh about those books. However, first and last were 100% correct for me, and I would love to do this again with like hopefully better books. I just felt so mid about so many of these books. I liked them, didn't love them, but I did really enjoy this. Maybe it's a me problem. Maybe that's why I'm not like wholly obsessed with this. Maybe I'm in a slump. Let me know know if you enjoyed this style of video. I'm kind of thinking about doing it like in a sit down form too, and maybe continue doing it in vlogs because I really enjoyed it. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video and you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, leave me some sort of window emoji, and have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day.